Holy crap, man. Check out this guy's rap sheet, man. It's longer than what's been reported. So, anyway, check out the hearing here.
Thank you, sir. As to the bail recommendation, Your Honor, I'd like the court to be aware of a prior criminal history as it relates to Mr. Brooks. I can advise the court he has an arrest record from 3 states to include Wisconsin, Nevada, and Georgia. Starting with the state of Wisconsin, the record begins in 2000. There was a conviction in that year for substantial battery, party to a crime. A prison sentence was imposed but stayed for 3 years probation and 6 months condition time. 2002, conviction for possession of marijuana as a repeat offender, sentenced to 50 days in the House of Correction. 2003, misdemeanor conviction for resisting obstructing, sentenced to 20 days in the House of Correction. 2005, there's an arrest from Langlade County. Ultimately, he was convicted of a county ordinance violation for disorderly conduct. What's remarkable about that is that he failed to pay the fine, so he was ordered to serve 30 days in jail on the non-payment. 2009, Manitowoc County conviction for obstructing an officer, sentenced to 2 days jail time served. 2010, conviction from Wood County, Wisconsin. He was convicted of the offense of strangulation/suffocation with other charges of battery and criminal damage to property dismissed and read in. The court ordered a withheld sentence for 3 years probation. That probation was revoked, and on August 1 of 2011, he was sentenced to 11 months jail. 2012, he was convicted at the same time on 2 separate files in Milwaukee County. First file was a charge for possession of marijuana as a repeat offender, sentenced to 180 days in the House of Correction. The second file, he was convicted of misdemeanor bail jumping and misdemeanor possession of THC, also sentenced to 180 days in the House of Correction, concurrent to the other case and concurrent to each other. In May of 2012, there was a conviction for resisting obstructing. He was sentenced to 37 days jail consecutive to the earlier sentence imposed in April of that year. He's currently pending on 2 charges in Milwaukee County. 2020 CF 2550, he's charged with 2 counts, second-degree recklessly endangering safety while armed, and 1 count of felon in possession of a firearm. The date of that offense, or excuse me, all 3 offenses, is July 24 of 2020. It's believed he was arrested shortly after that incident and remained in custody in the Milwaukee County Jail until released on bail there for reasons of a speedy trial violation on March 3 of 2021. Bail at that time was lowered from $7,500 cash bail to $500 cash bail. In that case, Your Honor, it is alleged that he got into a fight with his nephew. The defendant fired 1 round from a handgun toward the vehicle that his nephew was in. The vehicle was occupied by another person, and that accounts for the 2 charges of reckless endangering safety. The next day, he was taken into custody, and the residence where he was located, he was found to have a loaded 9mm handgun just a few feet away from him. The handgun was previously reported stolen. Again, he was a convicted felon on that date, so that accounts for the 3rd charge. He's also currently pending in Milwaukee County case number 21 CF 4596. That has a date of offense of November 2, 2021. He's charged there with resisting obstructing, felony bail jumping, second-degree reckless endangering safety in a domestic violence situation, domestic DC, and domestic battery. The allegations in that case, Your Honor, are that he struck the mother of his child in the face with a closed fist. Then as she was walking away from him, he intentionally ran her over with his vehicle. The vehicle in that matter described as what's believed to be the same maroon 2010 Ford Escape used in the allegations in this case. Police went to his home and found him getting out of that Ford Escape. The defendant ignored their commands to stop, and he tried to run into the house before he was apprehended. There's a long history of flight, obstructing, bail jumping type behavior, Your Honor. It's remarkable that these are violations all around the state of Wisconsin, not just his home county of Milwaukee, but we had convictions from Wood County, Manitowoc, and Langlade in northern Wisconsin. I'd like the court to be aware of a record from the state of Nevada. We'll go to Nevada first. That happened, the first conviction was from December 11th of 2006. He was found guilty at trial of a misdemeanor count for obstructing an officer, was sentenced to jail in Nevada. Also on that same day of December 11, 2006, he pled guilty to a domestic battery as a misdemeanor, and the court there ordered a suspended sentence. On March 16th of 2007, he pled guilty to statutory sexual seduction, a felony. The court ordered a suspended sentence for 36 months probation. He was also ordered to register on the Nevada Sex Offender Registry. He is currently noted to be non-compliant with that registration requirement. On June 23rd of 2016, he was charged with a sex offender registry violation, first offense. He failed to appear in court, and a warrant remains active for his arrest. So he currently has an outstanding warrant for his arrest in the state of Nevada. In Georgia, Your Honor, the record reflects a May 27, 2021 arrest for misdemeanor battery with a designation of family violence. While it is not clear if he was convicted, he did recently remark to a court official in this county that he had served a 6-month jail sentence in Georgia. So we have not been able to verify if that was a conviction, but certainly there was a confinement in conjunction with that arrest. He has no contact with the criminal justice system in Waukesha County or the district attorney's office. He does have a outstanding paternity case that's been pending since 2003, in which he was adjudicated as the father of a juvenile, and there's been returned court appearances over the years based on failure to pay child support. The court should know that a warrant or capias was issued for Mr. Brooks in this paternity case on at least 8 occasions. He has been sentenced to jail on several prior occasions for failing to pay that child support. And on one occasion, he had his Huber privileges revoked related to one of those jail sentences. That was back in 2009. Most recently, there was a warrant issued for his arrest in that non-support civil case on August 2 of 2021. Judge Maxwell signed an order for him to serve a 120-day jail sentence. Mr. Brooks did make a court appearance in that matter on November 16th of 2021, so just last week, 1 week ago. And he was released at that time because, again, he had explained to the court, provided an explanation that the reason he had not made his child support payments is because he was serving that jail sentence in Georgia. So the court released him that day and ordered him back for a court appearance in the paternity case for December. So, Judge, just based on his prior record, we obviously have very significant concerns about Mr. Brooks' flight history and willingness to obey the orders of the court. But we have to factor in, obviously, the allegations in this case as well. And obviously, I don't need to state Mr. Brooks is facing 5 consecutive life sentences if he's convicted on all counts in this complaint. I wish to notify the court, sadly, that today we learned of another death of a child related to this case. We do expect a 6th count for first-degree intentional homicide to be issued or added, to this case. I can advise the court that I am aware, I've been made aware through investigators that there are other individuals in critical condition. I think we've remarked on the number of actual injured parties in our complaint. It exceeds 60 people. There's a number of other charges that we are reviewing and considering, but certainly, at the very least, we do intend to file a 6th count of intentional homicide maybe Friday or maybe early next week, depending on when we can accomplish that. Certainly, if we have any other deaths resulting from this incident, additional counts of homicide will be filed. We didn't charge bail jumping. Obviously, we could have. We have focused our efforts to date on the immediate concern, and that involves the loss of life that is alleged to have occurred through the conduct of Mr. Brooks. I want this court to know, and I think the court has read the complaint, you've indicated you've read the complaint, there are not words to describe the risk that this defendant presents to our community. Not only flight risk, but the dangerousness that he presents, his history of violence, and the allegations in this complaint where it is stated plainly that on several occasions he was told to stop by police officers. They risked their own safety to try and step in front of the car to stop him. Everything was done to get him to stop, and he just simply continued down the roadway, causing death and destruction in his path. So I am advocating for a significant cash bail, Your Honor. I'm asking for $5 million cash bail. I know that's a large amount of money, but I think it is warranted on this history, and I think it's warranted when the court considers, if convicted, Mr. Brooks will spend the rest of his life in prison. Thank you.
Have you noticed that as everything around you seems to decline, one thing still grows? It is the power of your rulers. None of their plans and directives have solved your problems or made your life better. The only result has been their increased control over you at the cost of your freedom. Do you know why? You gave them the power.